last time we have there recommended the forum with her and Grant. At one point, no one. Remember? हमने मोमेंट्स में वो लेसन पढ़ा था ऐसा माँ उसके क्वेश्चन आंसर नहीं किए थे moments में से one weathering the storm of Elsama. We read it once. Oh yes, ma'am. ये हमें देखिए. ये मतलब हमें syllabus में ही. कैसा रहा तुम्हारा गणपति? हमारे घर में इस जैसे मतलब मैं बहुत नहीं हूँ जैसे उन्हें 0 years की भी इस साल 1.5 वैसे तो मैं 0 years की बच्चा जैसे बहुत बेस्ट है अगर अंदर ये जस्ट करेगा आपको नाम आते हैं हम करेंगे थोड़ा पहले वाले को देख के तो अच्छा लगेगा Do you do this? हम recap कर लेना और बड़ा चैप्टर वापस हाँ read the whole thing देखो इसको कैसे समझेगा ये नहीं था page 37 हाँ ये हाँ है आना नहीं ये था लोग दोनों ही की एग्जाम चल ठीक है हाँ पिक्चर देखा होगा हाँ नहीं मतलब वो पिक्चर आ रही है स्टोरी क्या था तो वहाँ पे वो स्टार वाला वो लोग मुझे नहीं था Do you remember the story of Elsama? Where there is a storm of Elsama? Storm. If you remember the story, then we'll go directly to the question. Directly, याद है ना तो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन तो तुमको स्टोरी भी याद आ जाएगा बुक है ना कौन सी हाँ और
Ma'am, what page?
Hello, Nakshatra. Last time we had read this lesson, weathering the storm in Ersama. Have you read this lesson? We had read this lesson. It was about the incident that took place in Orissa. So, and how this brave boy, what was his name? Prashant. How he traveled back to his village, and after going there, he realized that how his entire village was destroyed. So he did not sit there crying. He carried out a lot of work in his village. First, what he did, he was only 19 years old, and he organized a group of youths, and they pressurized the merchant to give away rice. And that's how he got the rice, that camp, and they cooked rice. The first time in 4 days, people who were living in the shelter or the camp ate rice. Then the military helicopter, in order to gather its attention, what did he ask the children to do? What did he ask the children to do? Yeah, so the helicopter did not know there's a village and there's no food. He asked the children to lie on their back with a plate with utensils on their stomach. So to gather the helicopter's attention. And since after that, the helicopter started dropping food packets for the villagers. Then Prashant found out that a large number of children were orphaned. So he asked the women to look after them. Then he realized that the women and the children both were very depressed. After few days, he realized that they were feeling very depressed. So what did he do for children? He organized cricket match so that they are busy in some activity and they would not, they would not think about their parents, those who had lost their parents, and those who were too much in the trauma. He also persuaded women who were feeling depressed to join the food for work program started by the NGOs. So he involved women and children in various activities and kept them active so that they come out of their depression. Or they come out of their grief. Then the government had planned that they will set up institutions for the orphan children and the women who had lost their family. But Prashant and the group insisted that they will not send the orphan children of their villages to these institutions because they suffer stigma, and women also suffer loneliness, and therefore they decided that they will resettle them in their community only. That means those who had lost their children, these children will be, the families who had lost their children, the orphan children will be taken care of the families, or the women who had lost their husbands, they were given some work and they were taken care by the community, and the orphan children were given to them to take care of. So they made one family itself in the village community. And that's the story, like how they dealt with this huge flood and Ersama. So this is the after effects of Ersama. You don't have the volume. You have the volume. You have the volume. Do you mind sharing with him? When will you buy volume? है तो है, लेकिन लेके तो नहीं आते हो कभी. Do you have the volume with you, Nakshatra? Because we had already read and explained this lesson earlier.
So if you have the volume, if you do the question answers, it would be easy for you to understand. Okay, let's do the multiple choice questions first. हो गया? पूरा हो गया? Multiple choice, MCQ, हो गया? Okay, give her some time. Page, volume 2 में, page, इसका strength, courage, energy, all. In volume 2, Nakshatra, it is on page 122. You started with your school. You too had 5-day holiday? Done? Nakshatra, how much time will you take? 5 minutes?
Ma'am, I haven't done this chapter before.
Yes.
So can I refer to the book?
Of course you should.
Okay.
Let's give her some time to go through the book and mark the answers. Take this and you write the answers in the notebook. Huh? तुमको आ रहा था ना मगर
वो मतलब वो क्या है वो मतलब उनको ऐसे पढ़ाते थे वेडनेसडे को 4 लेक्चर है
क्यों
लगातार ना वो हमेशा नहीं ये नहीं कि आई एक्सप्लेन दिस वे बोलते लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू
Don't write the question. Should we read it quickly so you'll understand, remember the answers? I think we should read it. Tanisha, you have not signed. We'll read it quickly because the brief answers you'll not remember otherwise. It will be difficult. Nakshatra, we will read the lesson quickly.
Okay.
So that it is easy for everyone. Weathering the storm of Ersama. Hey, come on, gala kharab hai. Read, yeah.
small town and close to the beach. Some 18 kilometers from the village. Spent the day in the evening, a dark maze cloud quickly gathered. Wind beat against the houses with the speed and hurry.
Fury.
Indeed, that Prashant had never witnessed. Heavy and
Incessant. Incessant means continuous.
rain filled the darkness. Ancient trees were uprooted and crashed the earth. Streams rent the air as people and houses were swiftly washed. The angry water swirled into the split clouds. Neck deep, the building was of brick and
Water.
water and was strong enough to survive the devastation of the wind velocity of the wind. But the cold terror of the houses of the family grew with the crashing of trees that had got uprooted and fallen on their house. Sometimes in the middle of the night, damaging roof and walls.
Okay. Nakshatra, read the next para. The crazed destruction.
The crazed destruction brought by the cyclone and the surge of the ocean continued for the next 36 hours, although wind speeds had reduced somewhat by the next morning. To escape the waters rising in the house, Prashant and his friends, family had taken refuge on
Refuge.
the roof. Prashant will never forget the shock he experienced at the first glimpse of devastation brought by the super cyclone in the grey light of the early morning. A raging, deadly brown sheet of water covered everything as far as the eye could see. Only fractured cement houses still stood in few places. Bloated animal carcasses and
Carcasses.
human corpses floated in every direction. All round, even huge old trees had fallen. 2 coconut trees had fallen on the roof of their house. This was a blessing in disguise because the tender coconuts from the trees kept the trapped family from starving in the several days that followed.
For the next 2 days, Prashant had sat huddled with his friends' family in the open on the rooftop. They froze in the cold and incessant rain. The rain water washed away Prashant's tears. The only thought that flashed through his mind was whether his family had survived the fury of the super cyclone. Was he to be bereaved once again? 2 days later, which seemed to Prashant like 2 years, the rain ceased and the rain water slowly began to recede. Prashant was determined to seek out his family without further delay. But the situation was still dangerous, and his friend's family pleaded with Prashant to stay back a little longer. But Prashant knew he had to go. He equipped himself with a long, sturdy stick and then started on the 18-kilometer expedition back to his village through the swollen flood waters. It was a journey he would never forget. He constantly had to use his stick to locate the road, to determine where the water was most shallow. At places it was waist deep and progress was slow. At several points he lost the road and had to swim. After some distance he was relieved to find 2 friends of his uncle who were also returning to their village. They decided to move ahead together. Read. And after that, you were. Yeah.
As they were before the water and few more and both families. They had to push away many human bodies, men, women, children, and fragrances of the boats and cattle that were raised up against them and building in the current. In every village that they found, they could barely see a house standing. Until now, they out loud enough. He was sure that his family could not survive this everything. Eventually, Krishnan reached the village, Telugu. His heart went cold. When their home was stood, there were only remnants of the street. Some of their belongings were caught, tangled, and used in the managed to see along the dark. Young Krishnan decided to go to the great cross, shelter in the forest. Mama was We can here student. Her hands outstretched, her eyes glaring. It was very well. It had long divided her body. Quickly words spread, and his extended family gathered around him. And how can that be? Prashant and Ranjit can send Moge, Battle, Group. His brother and sister were in the army or to the But the next morning, as he took in the student education center, he decided to get a free phone. He sends a very big sending a brother who comes 500 from South Michelle. It is a crowd, the law of the on the 96th Congress Party was away. It was their fourth day and the air shelter. So far, we have survived to there was 2 who were around and the
Tumbled of people. Okay, read. Pressurize. Delegation. Triumphantly. Triumphantly means they were successful. Light, a reluctant and slow fire.
on which both the ran. For the first time, the pilot had to then the next pack was connected to the shelter of the environment
Caracasses.
and then had been extended from without to gather and be eventually pretended to children to die in the family around the children communicated to the hospital of the president. The message was given and after that
Other basic needs. Read. Daksh.
Prashant found my larger he brought them together to
Sheet shelter.
Women were mobilized to look after them. 5 men secured food and materials for the shelter. At the beach cars, Prashant was quickly and the women and children were safely. He persuaded the women to start working. The group for one program and go for children.
And for the children,
Prashant engaged volunteers in helping and children to pick up the books from home. The initial government plan was to set up the and however, this state was successfully registered as it was built in distance. Children would grow up.
widows of her.
Prashant would believe orphans should be resettled in their own community itself. Possibly, he viewed foster families made up of just widows and children without adult care. It is 6 months after the devastation of this month. This time, Prashant's founded spirit had reached quickly because he had no time to bother about his people. He had some useful place for the widows and
Is what the widows
is what the widows and orphan children
of
of
his
his village seek out most in the
darkest hour grief. Okay, now we'll do the question answers. Can I have the book? First one. Who will read? Since you have written the first answers, tell the first question. Multiple choice.
Word calamity
Devastating cyclone.
Devastating. Where was Prashant when the cyclone hit it? At the block headquarters, about 18 kilometers.
Mhm.
How long did it rain continuously?
How long did it rain? For 36 hours. That's right.
How did people in Arizona survive during the storm?
Okay. By eating the tender coconut. Yes. By eating tender coconut and remaining on the rooftops. Second. Yes. Yes. 1 minute. Did you say something?
The second one is both A and B.
Second one is both A and B. Yes. All of the above. Okay. In the Red Cross shelter. Third one. Yes. By arranging food, by formed a volunteer group, help. Yes. Fourth one. Would you like to give the fourth answer?
Caretakers.
What old women caretakers? Yes.
To save them from isolation and grief-stricken feelings.
They were caretakers. No, they were. It's mentioned as mother's role. It's mother's role. So women were mobilized to look after them. So caretakers.
The second one is A.
The volunteers were not want to separate institutions to save them from isolation and grief-stricken family. Okay.
Yeah.
Feelings. Sorry. What are the-
Third one is all.
Yes.
Fourth one is also all.
Fourth one is also on. Yes. Ersama. What havoc has the super cyclone wreaked in the life of the people of Orissa? What havoc? तुम तो अभी लगता है सोने वाले हो. What havoc has the super cyclone? Yes. Mother's role. I still feel it is caretakers.
Ma'am, because usually looking after doesn't specify if it's a mother.
Yeah. It's women were mobilized to look after them. Caretakers is the correct one. Yeah, for every. Yeah. Yeah. So what havoc has the super cyclone wreaked in the life of the people? The super cyclone caused high-speed winds, floods, which took many lives. The answers are here on page 121. Just go through the answers. What would you say? You don't have the answers. What all what all happened because of the cyclone? People were homeless, people died. Okay, they were injured, they were hungry, they lost their homes. Hey, if you sit like this and talk like this, तो मुझे भी नींद आ जाएगी.
4 घंटे नींद का दिन था।
क्यों 4 घंटा सोई थी सिर्फ? Okay, what all will you write? What havoc has super cyclone wreaked in the life of the people of Orissa? The entire village got wiped out. The entire village got wiped out. The tall trees. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm. 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. First, write that the storm lasted for 36 hours. Sorry, the storm lasted for 36 hours. For 36 hours. A raging sheet of water covered. The storm lasted for 36 hours. Then a raging sheet of water covered everything. Animal carcasses and human corpses. Animal carcasses. Animal carcasses, carcasses, and human corpses, corpses, and लिखा है ना, and human corpses floated in every direction. Full stop. Everything, full stop. Animal carcasses and human corpses floated in every direction. Huge old trees had fallen. Corpses floated in every direction. Houses, huge old trees had fallen, destroying the houses. Full stop. That's it. Next question. How has Prashant, a teenager, been able to help the people of his village? How did he help the people of his village? So first what he did, Prashant organized a group of youth and elders. Okay, the answer is on page 40 and 41. So Prashant organized a group of youth and elders young and elders to acquire or to pressurize the merchant to give his rice. Yes, to pressurize the merchant to give his rice for the people in the shelter. Then with a tea, finished? Page 40. With a team of young volunteers, he cleaned the shelter of filth, urine, vomit, and floating carcasses. Version 2, give his rice for the people in the shelter. Yes, 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 yes. Then he organized, with a team of young volunteers, with a team of young volunteers, he cleaned the shelter. Yeah. Vomit and the floating carcasses. With a team of young volunteers, he cleaned, are you writing the answer? He cleaned the shelter of filth, urine, vomit, and floating carcasses. Done? Then he gathered all the, or he brought all the orphan children together. He brought all the orphan children together. Children together and mobilize the women to look after them. The women to look after them. He organized cricket matches for children. And organize cricket matches for children and encourage women to work in the Food for Work program. Women to work in the Food for Work program. Food for Work program started by the NGO. He also took initiative to resettle the orphans yeah, that we wrote no, or organized cricket matches. He also took initiative to resettle the orphans with in new foster families. In new foster families of their own community. Of their own community. Now, this is the C. There is one last question. Do you think Prashant is a good leader? Yes. Do you think young people can get together to help people during natural calamities? Yes. And you can write the same answer. This is what Prashant did. That proves that he was a good leader. Okay. So learn this answer, because this answer, once you know this answer, that will answer most of the questions. Learn this answer. Daksh, Salian, learn that answer. Do you speak Malayalam at home? Karnataka. Okay, you're not from Kerala. Oh. So you can speak our language. Nakshatra, learn the second answer. Once you learn the second answer, that will cover basically half the lesson. Done? Done? At least you remember the points. Tell me once, but. Daksh, tell. हाँ पीछे कुछ है ही नहीं. Hmm. What? Hmm. Yes. Then with the help of volunteers, he shelter of yes. Yes, around. Then
Organized
no, first he gathered all the orphan children, mobilized the women to take care of them.
and then he organized and he encouraged the
Food for
for India,
NGOs.
and then he took the initiative to recenter the hospital
In the foster families of his own community. Good job. Okay. Nakshatra, will you give this answer?
Prashant took the initiative to help the people of his village. He organized a group of youth and elders, and he convinced the grain merchant to give rice for the hungry people.
Okay. In the shelter.
Yes. Uh, him and his group, they cleared all the areas of uh,
With the help of volunteers, he
he
cleaned
cleared
the shelter of
which were filled with pills of urine, vomit, and floating carcass.
okay.
Uh, he also persuaded the women to take care of the orphan children. And he also gave opportunities for them to work for food programs for the NGO.
Okay. 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 Will you tell the answer? Merchant for the people in the from the shelter. Yes. 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 He took an initiative. Okay. Fine.
before then, and in the west, when we were going, there was a man, he asked for it, and answered, like he wanted to go there.
Yeah.
But there was not much So he will the bus and then he told the driver
क्या?
decrease भी दे
Decrease?
सर को बोला decrease भी दे
अच्छा.
उतार दो मुझे.
Okay. Third question. How have the people of community helped one another? Same answer. Okay. Same answer. Like formed a group and then जो कुछ लिखा है वो सब कुछ. What role do the women of Kalikuda play during these days? They took care of the orphan children.
And
Okay, wounds of the people. Why do Prashant and other volunteers resist the plan to set up institutions for orphan and widows? Because
He didn't want the women to suffer from stigma and loneliness.
and
And he wanted the children to grow up with love.
yeah, and here it also says that children usually grow up at such institutes. Children grow up without love, and widows suffer from stigma and loneliness. In order to avoid that, he wanted them to be taken care of by their own community. Okay, so they raise the children in the foster families. Yes. So remember this line. At such institutions, children grow up without love, and widows, what happens to widows? They suffer from stigma and loneliness. So, therefore, Prashant's group resettled them in their own community, in the foster family. Yeah, made up of childless widows and children with. Okay. Foster family is no, foster family is they ask if suppose I'm there and if there is a orphan child, then instead of putting him in the orphanage, they ask, like suppose there are sometimes there's only one parent and the parent is sometimes an abusive parent or whatever the reason is. So they send them to this one family. Like if I register myself as a foster family, then they send them to this family. So this family, like I will raise along with my own family, I will raise this one child also. So that's a foster family. So you have to register yourself as a foster family. Yeah, sometimes family, yeah. We don't have that custom in India so much, but in in foreign countries they have these foster families. Okay, so that was about Ersama. Okay. After this, today the second part we will do grammar. We'll do prepositions. Okay, preposition and few gap filling and editing exercises. Okay. So we'll keep doing gap filling and editing exercises because gap filling and editing is where most of you lose marks. How was your paper? Good. What did you have in the? You had gap filling and editing everything. Then, like,
descriptive writing was there.
हाँ, क्या था आपका क्वेश्चन में डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग? ओह ग्रेट. ए नानी को तो तुमको लिख के दिया है मैंने. तुमने कुछ लिखा क्या उसमें से? हाँ.
Denominator slowly.
Okay. So next would be our preposition. Huh? Next activity would be preposition.
Power nap, okay, take your power nap.